This is Jason Spangler with Wagner Meters, and as you can imagine, daily, monthly, yearly, we get a ton of questions, whether they're in regards to concrete in general and how it dries or how to measure the moisture in it, or about our RapidRH product line specifically. So what we decided to do is break down a few different videos with some of the different types of questions that we get on a frequent basis. This 6-inch slab was poured 9 months ago and is reading 95% relative humidity. How can it be that high after all this time? Well, I have to tell you, there's a lot of pieces that play into that, and on the surface, when you look at 95% after 9 months, for most people that probably would seem high. Based on our experience, what you find out is that in those 9 months, the concrete has been poured, it does cure, but because there's no walls up, there's no HVAC going, there's no consistent conditions that are conducive for drying, unfortunately that concrete doesn't start the drying process until it's actually enclosed and has a condition that is conducive. So many times what you'll find out is that the concrete, again, can be cured or can be curing, but it's not drying. A lot of things that also impede that can be curing compounds. Sometimes they say that they break down with the ultraviolets, but unfortunately it may take time for that to happen, and you may not get enough ultraviolets for that to actually break down all the way. The other thing we see is we see a lot of the hard trowel surfaces. See a lot of times that they'll get on there, you'll have a slab that's just absolutely like glass, but unfortunately over troweling, at some point it's a point of diminishing return. And what happens is, it actually, most people will say, it actually burnishes the surface and it closes down the capillary structure and keeps the concrete from actually evaporating efficiently. Does the HVAC have to be on to have accurate conditions? To be honest, the ASTM standard says that we have to have the conditions at service conditions. So whatever the environment's going to be like when it's inhabited. Now, obviously HVAC is the easiest way to have those service conditions. But on the other side of it, not as much from an accuracy standpoint getting your moisture results, but on the other side of it is actually giving the concrete the proper conditions to dry. Having the HVAC system on gives it those appropriate conditions. Do we have to have those conditions documented? Absolutely. Some of the easiest ways to do that would be with our TH200, or if you're so inclined, the Data Master has a built-in ambient sensor in it that will actually take the recordings every time you take a reading. How do I get the concrete to dry faster? Well, all I can say is that if I had the answer to that, I'd probably be talking to you somewhere on a beach. That's $1 million question, but what I can tell you is that there are 3 things out there that most people will tell you are going to help. One is heat, the other is air movement, and the third thing is dehumidification. So if you heat the slab up, you're going to raise the moisture to the top. The air is going to allow it to actually move out of the capillary structure faster, or the pores faster. And as it does that and goes up into the air, you need the dehumidification equipment to make sure that you capture it out of the air. One of the most frequent questions we get around here is whether or not I truly wear those hideous orange shoes. And as you can see by the looks of them, I wear them quite often. This is Jason Spangler, signing off.